right, a very good morning. Karibu sana to TV47 Breakfast. This is where we wake you up the best way we know how. How hot is your coffee this morning? It is 18th of June 2020. Na hii imeenda haraka sana bana.
I know you'll jinx it. You'll jinx it.
You think it'll slow down now?
It will slow down.
We're already in the second half of the year.
By now, last year, June ilikuwa imeisha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you say that,
don't worry, the cold is coming. July is just around the corner. And we'll be checking out the weather later on. My name is Freddy Ndimuli. Karibu sana. I think before we give them the highlights.
Yeah.
Waamshe pia.
My name is Annie Odida. Umesema how hot is your coffee, but nowadays we also drink tea. So how hot is your tea as well? From wherever you're watching TV47.
I take hibiscus. Is that considered yes? Is that considered tea?
See, kando yake ni tea. Hibiscus.
No, yangu ni hibiscus drink.
It's hibiscus. Actually, hibiscus what? Drink. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, bora hibiscus.
Bora
you can put majani there and drink it. Yeah.
All right. Karibu sana. Of course, the World Cup 2026. Most highlights are coming from that direction. We talked about the number of games that were to be played. These are the results this morning. Argentina versus Algeria 3-0. Jana. Austria versus Jordan. Austria came out stronger 3-1. Portugal, DRC, I think this is one of the most interesting ones. 1-1. Timu za Afrika zinangangana. Congratulations, DRC. Kudraw na Portugal, sio jokes.
Yeah.
England, Croatia, I think I predicted this one. England was always going to come out on top because watu wengi wa timu ile kubwa Arsenal wanachezea England.
Wow.
The best Arsenal player, your best Arsenal player ni nani?
Actually, wote.
Yeah. Okay, mimi nasema Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka plays for England. Yeah. Madueke plays for England. Declan Rice plays for England. Utakosaje kushinda na timu kama hiyo? Kama timu kama Arsenal. Hiyo sasa kusema ni kama Arsenal iko kwa World Cup. Yeah. Against Croatia, the 4-2. Iraq, Norway. Norway, of course, coming out on top. 4-1. We had talked about France, Senegal. 3-1 to France. So those are the World Cup highlights, and we'll be telling you what matches to expect today. Yes. Back to the key talking points this morning.
Niwaambie leo ni siku gani na gani. What we're celebrating today. Today is World Tapas Day. I think these are just some dishes, but a lot is happening globally today. It's also International Panic Day. This is interesting, sababu they're saying, are you overworked? Are you underpaid? So stressed that the cat has moved in with a neighbor. International Panic Day is a tongue-in-cheek excuse to admit that modern life can feel like a long sprint in dress shoes, and sometimes the brain responds by slamming the big red alarm button. So it's International Panic Day. Lakini wakiweka hivyo inakaa ni kama it's encouraging people to get to panic.
Some people just panic for the sake of it. I think before you panic, take time, breathe in, breathe out. No need to panic. There's a lot that you cannot change in this life.
Yeah.
So no need to panic. Kaa tu ungoje kama itakuja kukumaliza awache.
Kumaliza. If you die, you die.
Yeah, you only die once.
You only die once.
Yeah. You get to live every day, but you only die once. You won't die twice. It's only once. But at least you get to live every day.
Me, the number of times I've died ni mingi sana.
Really?
You die by the way you lose energy.
Then you resurrect?
No, yes, of course. Yes, you resurrect. If you lose your energy, si utapata kitu, and then you will get that energy back. You lose enthusiasm for things that bring joy to you. You die.
I see death as a finality. Once you die, you're dead. Dead. Finish. Kaput.
Only what Jesus
Kick the bucket.
did pale kwa Lazarus, that joke to you.
Only Jesus could do this. Matters resurrection.
It's also International Picnic Day. International Sushi Day. It's International Day for Countering Hate Speech. It's also Autistic Pride Day. So that's all that is happening in the global space.
And as far as news is concerned, of course, President William Ruto still attending the G7 summit in France. A lot of photos being shared of him now standing around with the other top presidents and members of the G7. Him sharing the tidbits. Na inakasirisha watu, na watu bado wanaendelea kasirika. Acheni kupunguza hasira. If you cannot change it, live it. Yeah. Of course, other big discussions, the finance bill imeanza kuleta moto. Jana bungeni, they were debating on the finance bill na wamesema hii hakuna, wengine wamesema mitumba kuna tax. Na kama mnasema hakuna, okay fine, we'll introduce an amendment saying that there's no tax for mitumba in the finance bill. We'll be telling you about that. It's on most of the front pages today. Other things, yes, I think kwa Senate, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna alionyeshwa dust kidogo. He was removed from the powerful Senate Energy Committee in a reshuffle. Yeah, this is a fresh political blow amid factional tensions in ODM and broader political perspectives and dynamics. You know, that discussion we started yesterday. What is Sifuna's role in the united opposition? What is his role in as far as affecting or influencing the kind of coalition that ODM can have with UDA? Sifuna this way, Sifuna that way, Sifuna nonetheless. All right, so that could also make part of our discussion today. So interact.
Yeah, Kajwang and I'm replaced pale. I think it's also to know his fate today. Ile PPDT.
The Political Parties Disputes Tribunal.
Yep.
On whether or not he can continue being Secretary General of ODM.
Of ODM, yeah.
All right, so that's interesting.
He'll be knowing his fate today.
Okay. Interact with us on all our social media pages, TV47 Digital on X, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, on Instagram, and even on YouTube where we're streaming live, TV47 Live. Remember to use the hashtag TV47Breakfast, hashtag Story Yetu.
I'll see you. Let's take a look at the state of the weather at this point. All right, let's see how the weather's looking this morning. Kule nimetoka kunanyesha. So it's still a chilly morning today. Kama Tuesday. Today is also very chilly. Nyekisi, it's a partly sunny day today. It's 16 degrees this morning, highs of 27 degrees. It's also a partly sunny day in Elgeyo Marakwet, 9 degrees this morning, highs of 19 degrees in that county today. Kisumu, 18 degrees this morning, highs of 29 degrees. It's a partly sunny day as well. That's as far as Kisii, Elgeyo Marakwet and Kisumu counties are concerned. Kajiado, it's a partly sunny day as well. 14 degrees this morning, highs of 23 degrees. Kiambu, partly sunny day, 14 degrees this morning. Kama Kajiado, it's 23 degrees in Kiambu County. And Nairobi, light rains expected. Nimesema kule nimetoka kumenyesha leo. Sasa
tumejua pale umetoka. Hakuna kwingine kunanyesha. Ni Nairobi peke yake.
The TV47 headquarters is in Nairobi. In Nairobi, it's 16 degrees this morning, highs of 23 degrees expected today. That's the state of the weather.
At the World Panic Day, Ebu breathe in kwanza. Out. In again. Out. Let's get the inspiration from the quote of the day.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
So timely.
Yeah.
So timely. Yeah. International Panic Day, but the only thing you need to fear is fear itself. Yeah.
Fear itself. So you need to fear fearing.
Yeah.
No panic. Tumesema if it's coming your way, it is coming your way.
Yes.
If there's nothing you can do about it, just sit down, let it come and finish you.
Fear will destroy you actually. Fear. Hakuna kitu mbaya kama fear. Unajua nasemanga comparison is the thief of joy. Fear is the thief of joy.
Don't walk around ukiogopa. Unaogopa nini wewe? Ati una panic. Acha hiyo maneno yako. Anyway, let's come back and take a look at the dailies this morning. If you see the headline on the front page of the Standard, you may think we are in June 2024. Tax rebellion, that's the main headline there. Tax bill rebellion, the revenue battle. So the battle over the Finance Bill 2026 has escalated into a fierce political showdown after MPs mounted a rare revolt against key national treasury proposals, deleting, diluting, and rewriting measures expected to raise an additional 120 billion shillings. While the government insists there are no new punitive taxes, critics accuse it of barring higher costs in technical tax provisions and pushing the bill through Parliament without adequate scrutiny. The pushback reflects growing anxiety within political circles over the risk of reigniting public anger reminiscent of the 2024 Gen Z protests. So pages 4 and 5 of this paper talk about this. Remember yesterday I told you that one MP from the minority side was still talking about taxation on mitumba, which was vehemently opposed by members from the majority side, especially the majority leader Kimani Ichung'wah, saying that in this bill there's no, initially they had introduced 5% tax on entry of mitumba into the country. So fine, that was deleted. But they replaced that with VAT on mitumba at the point of entry. Whether or not it's in the latest bill presented before Parliament that's actually being debated, we're not sure. So that MP was forced to withdraw because he was told, okay, fine, show us within the bill where there's taxation for mitumba. Now what they've decided, because they're saying this may have been hidden, that VAT probably, or whatever tax may have been hidden in the volumes of papers in that document. Now they're saying they're going to introduce an amendment which expressly says that there will be no tax on mitumba.
Kama haiko tutaweka.
Kama mnasema hamujaweka tax, sawa. So to include a clause saying there will be no tax on mitumba. Mwekatae sasa. Ndio tujue kumbe mnajaribu kuficha. So kama hakuna tax on mitumba, why would you oppose a clause saying there's no tax on mitumba?
But I think the Treasury CS has been on record akisema haiko, but it's something that he'd love to propose.
That's the 5%.
Yes, the 5% taxation on imports. Ikiingia pale kwa port, 5% inakata.
Hiyo ilitolewa. Initially it was there, then it was deleted. Then at some point there was an introduction of VAT on mitumba, which was initially not there. So which is which? Which taxation? Which tax are we talking about? Is it the VAT on mitumba? Is it the excise duty 5%? Remember VAT 16%, and that you can recover once you sell. But then again, which tax are we talking about in as far as mitumba is concerned? Is there any tax on mitumba within the finance bill? That is what we need to look for. MPs wenyewe wanasema I think mumeficha hapa. Anyway, that's a big story here. The other discussions around taxation on rental income is also being discussed. Now, amesema even that one, they will also propose an amendment to it. So we do expect a lot more back and forth, especially within the National Assembly on the newly proposed taxes within the finance bill. Kwingineko, so anasema Ruto fiscal plan faces acid tests as MPs poke holes in tax proposals. According to these MPs from the minority side, they're actually saying that this finance bill is worse than the one in 2024. I don't know kama they're being serious ama ni ile tu joto tumbo.
Inciting. What do you think? Because that is a lot of reporters, I hear them saying the contentious 2026 finance bill. Is it really contentious?
Well, it's contentious now that there's contention in Parliament. If MPs are saying, no, we are not going to agree to that, then that's a point of contention. Remember, 25th of June is only next week. So we are very close to, I think we are a week away from the anniversary, June 2024. June 25, 2024, the events of that day. The anniversary is being marked next week.
That's a forced contention though.
Well, sasa, kama members of parliament wameshindwa kusoma waseme ni nini iko na nini hakuna, what do they expect Kenyans to do? And we always talk about this. Parliament, whether the minority or the majority, they need to provide clarity for their constituents who do not understand these things. Now when they don't talk about it, anyway. That's the front pages. Back page, ageless Lionel Messi, way above them all. Argentina wins 3-0 over Algeria. And all these goals were scored by Lionel Messi. Ako na miaka ngapi huyo? 38 years old. He's almost 40. 38 years old. And he has 16 World Cup goals. So he scored all 3 goals for Algeria. Algeria chunga sana. They might go on to win this World Cup. I don't fancy them much. I prefer France. But it looks like wakianza hivi na Lionel Messi, probably his very last World Cup. Compared to Portugal, ambayo iko na Cristiano Ronaldo, lakini walishindwa au walidraw. Anyway, that's the standard today. All right.
Tuangalie Daily Nation sasa. The main story here talks about storm over secret 180 billion shillings JKA deal. Row after cancellation of a contentious project by Indian billionaire Gautam Adani in the aftermath of the 2024 Gen Z protests. The government is courting fresh controversy following reports of the award of a new contract for the expansion of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to a Chinese firm through a process that critics say is cloaked in secrecy. Two sources within state agencies overseeing the procurement confirmed the contract was awarded this month and is awaiting expiry of a 14-day period within which dissatisfied bidders are allowed to challenge the process. The story is on page 4 and 5. And the people who've been quoted here, Stephen Mutoro says, COFEC has established that the joint venture partner is owned by a man COFEC had already petitioned the court to bar from Kenya. Sheila Masinde from TISA also keys full information on the financing model, including any debt obligations Kenyans are being committed to. LSK President says address concerns around full accountability and public participation or we seek court intervention. And Okiya Mtata says the whole thing is being procured in contemptuous disregard of the Constitution. We are going to resist it.
Something funny and very curious. You remember that when the Adani deal was being talked about, part of the protests by Gen Zs around that time, they were also protesting the supposed deal to upgrade the airport.
Yeah.
Is it curious that this is coming almost around the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have the finance bill, we have the airport deal, all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Aoni kama tunachezwa mahali.
Kuna kitu.
It's like
financially ya karibu inaanza.
It's like Kenyans are being pushed towards collective rage on so many different things. Mpaka you lose focus. Okay, are you talking about the finance bill? Is it the airport? What exactly are you protesting about?
So it's rage bait.
Probably. I'm asking, could it be?
Could it be? Could it be rage bait?
Tupatia in small doses, tujue tuna focus na gani.
They're throwing everything at us. All right, other quick headlines here. Ruto tells G7 Africa will power future global growth. G7 Africa will power future global growth. President Ruto champions Africa's course during meeting with world leaders, saying the era of exploiting the continent for its critical minerals is gone. That story is on page 6. That summit is done? It's over?
The one at the coast?
G7.
Oh, G7. I think
France.
it's almost done, yes. Should be done now.
Finance bill is also mentioned here on the front page. MPs reject public push to lower pay. That's a different angle. That the National Assembly's Finance and National Planning Committee has ignored many petitions to amend tax laws to adjust pay-as-you-earn bans and increase personal relief to hand salaried workers more disposable income.
You see, they're actually using John Baddy's words.
Yes.
That he had promised to ensure that those earning 30,000. Actually, he went and said eventually those earning 50,000 and below should not be paying payee. But he said at least in this budget, those earning 30,000 and below will be given that relief. Then he rescinded that promise. But now, those from the minority in the National Assembly are insisting they will introduce that one. In the finance bill, they say that they will introduce a clause saying that anyone earning below 30,000 shillings will be free from paying payee. Very populist statement. Whether or not it will pass in parliament, I don't know. But hiyo ni uchokozi.
Kupewa false hopes.
Hiyo ni uchokozi sasa.
Yeah.
But then again, they're using Mbadi's words.
All right, angalia back page. 2026 FIFA World Cup, June 11 to July 19 inaendelea. USA, Mexico and Canada. Goal machines, Messi, Haaland and Mbappe ensure perfect starts. On target, Argentine star shines in Algeria tie equals all-time scoring record. Today, Group L Ghana and Panama will be playing at 2 a.m. Uzbekistan versus Colombia will be playing at 4 a.m. They're playing currently. Czech Republic and South Africa will be playing at 7 p.m. South Africa. Again, people will be hate watching South Africa. What a time to be.
Are you supporting South Africa?
Are we?
You want to take their jobs?
Read the room.
It is their job to support their own country.
That's their business.
It's plus their jobs.
Yes.
We shall not take their jobs.
Also, Switzerland, Bosnia and Herzegovina will be playing at 10 p.m. today. Then tomorrow, there will be Canada and Qatar 1 a.m. And then Mexico and South Korea at 4 a.m. And then USA and Australia tomorrow. That's the Daily Nation.
All right. When I go back to the Star, fresh, independent, different, but the main headline is the same. Debate about the finance bill. MP's tax battle sets stage for Gen Z Memorial. So anniversary on June 25th, which is Thursday next week, exactly a week from today. Do we anticipate protests next week? That's the other question. As we mark the anniversary,
yeah.
Do we anticipate protests, or what kind of memorial will be there this year? I remember last year, 2025, there were some protests here and there. Should we anticipate something like that?
There's so much silence around that.
Yes, so probably it could be marked in a different way. We do not know. So this is the main story on the spread. MP's big tax bill, they say Ruto's lieutenants fought off what they termed as falsehoods being peddled about the tax laws and the 2026-2027 budget. So spotlight on House as debate exposes lack of grasp on bill. Yes, these MPs, it would appear, yet they have been the ones interacting with these documents. Even when amendments are made without the public knowing, mnakuja tu kuambiwa in this document, this is a very last document, hakuna hiyo tax. But MPs, it would appear they don't know. So if they don't know, who are we? How will we get to know? Yeah. Kuna shida pale. 13th Parliament, muko down tu sana. ODM Chief Oburu draws first blood in Sifuna Senate power struggle. So embattled ODM SG. Edwin Sifuna has been removed from the Senate Energy Committee in a move that is likely to intensify speculation over widening divisions within ODM. Huyu ni ule party leader alikuwa anasema hata kualikwa. Lakini bado ako na power within ODM.
Yeah.
Wash then judiciary to blame as Kenya stuck in grey list. Kenya is likely to remain under enhanced scrutiny for weaknesses in combating money laundering and terrorist financing, with the Financial Action Task Force FATF updates its list later this week. Wash Kenya ni kitu ya kawaida. Ni kitu ya kawaida. Tuache kujifanya. We know, we see it every day, especially on some roads.
Unataka ku involved. Nataka one involved.
Wash. Are you a criminal?
Involve me.
I shall
Money
steer
making
clear.
schemes.
I shall steer clear of that one.
Well, jokes.
Pale Jumata Sports, of course, Kylian Mbappe rising to become top goal scorer in France. And that G7 Nambo Elisha 17th. Has the president come back? 17th was the day before yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah. So Ruto's G7 diplomacy cements Kenya's place at table of global affairs. You can discuss or find out more details about what was discussed there. What did Ruto say? What did the other world leaders tell him? And what does Kenya and Africa come out of the G7 summit with? Page 6 of the Star. The World Cup risky tournament, they ask on the back page, lack of World Cup segregation, a risk, says football supporters Europe chief. Lack of World Cup segregation. Why would they want? So the head of fan group, Football Supporters Europe, says a lack of segregation at the World Cup is a risk and shows FIFA has lost control of their ticketing. Most group games so far have been played in front of fans of both countries, mingling. Oh, so he's talking about if two countries are playing together, playing against each other, their supporters should not be at the same place. Yes, they should be probably different ends. That makes sense. Can imagine if at all Iran and US come to play at some point. Wale hata walali huko US. That's a Star. Fresh, independent, different. Grab yourself a copy for only 60 bob.
Alright, tuangalie Taifa Leo. Kindiki na Gachagua kutegana. Uchaguzi mdogo wa eneo bunge la Olkalau County ya Laikipia unaotarajiwa kuandaliwa Julai 16 mwaka huu umeibuka kuwa mojawapo ya mashindano yanayofuatilia kwa karibu zaidi eneo la Mlima Kenya na kwingineko nchini. Sasa ingawa ni uchaguzi wa kujaza nafasi iliyoachwa wazi na kifo cha mbunge, sasa amechukua sura ya vita vya kisiasa kati ya naibu rais Kithure Kindiki na mtangulizi wake Rigathi Gachagua kuelekea uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka ujao. Mahasidi wa kisiasa mlimani kwenye vita vya ubabe wakiepuka kuongoza kampeni moja kwa moja Olkalau.
Month to the by-election.
Yeah.
On the 16th of July in Olkalau.
Alright, azikwa miaka 6 baadaye, familia ya mzika mpendwa wao baada ya miaka 6 kutokana na deni kubwa la bili na ada kufuatia kifo chake. 6 years. Polisi ange kuhusu usajili wa kigaidi. Kuna tetesi vijana wanasajiliwa kujiunga na makundi ya kigaidi kimataifa pwani. Masuala ya mambo ya nje, Tshisekedi guu moja 3-term quote unquote. Seneti DRC yapitisha mswada kumruhusu Tshisekedi kuhudumu kwa muhula wa 3. Wow. Tshisekedi ndio DRC. Is it that good? Watu wa DRC, ebu interact with us. Jamani,
DRC wasai wako World Cup.
DRC they speak Swahili as well.
Hey, the Swahili is Swahili butamu.
Ebu ambie watuambie if their president is. Anyway, on the top strip, kundi la Senator Edwin Sifuna linavyopangua upinzani kuelekea mwaka ujao. Maarufu wa Linda Mwananchi umechochea wito wa kumtaka seneta wa Nairobi kwa sehemu ya tiketi ya urais wa upinzani mnamo mwaka ujao. Na uhamiaji wa shabikia Senegal. Hii ni baada ya mashabiki wa nchi hiyo kunyimwa visa kuingia USA. Taifa Leo.
You know, you mentioned something about a story about someone who's been buried 6 years later.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's actually a former African president who's yet to be buried 1 year later?
Why?
Yeah?
Why?
The former Zambian president, Edward Lungu, because they disagreed with his successor, and he said, I don't want that man next to me on my burial day. He should not come close to my casket on my burial day. Hakainde Ichilema.
And then?
There's so the family, when this president was taken ill, he was taken to South Africa. Eventually he died from there. So the family, in respect of their kin, they said, okay, fine, we'll bury him in South Africa. Zambia says no. He was a president here. He'll have to come back home.
Yeah.
So now they've been struggling back and forth. Mara, the body has disappeared.
The body has disappeared?
No, reports in the news say, okay, Zambian government says we are now in custody of the body. The family says no. Yeah. We are the ones who have the body. So the body still is in South Africa.
Wow.
Yeah. More than a year later, Edward Lungu, president of Zambia, is yet to be buried.
On today's episode of Did You Know?
Did you know? All right, let's take a look at the People Daily haraka haraka. Masaa naona inatuchenga. People Daily, feeding the monster, dark evolution of state-backed goons. We've talked about this, and this is part of our discussion today. The fact that a lot of these goons usually accompany police or are accompanied by police in their missions. Sasa wanaonekana hata na CCTV, the latest one, waliingia kanisani. Surely. Kwani walizaliwa na nani? You know, it's a former First Lady, I think Lucy Kibaki was asked, who's your mother? Yeah, and you do some things, who's your mother? Who raised you? Yeah. So that's a story there on People Daily. Finally, Business Daily.
All right, Business Daily, investors eye 2 billion shillings gain on family bank listing. The lender will trade on the Nairobi Securities Exchange on Tuesday next week, and some owners are set for 24.1% paper gain. That story, MPs block fresh attempts to increase KRA's power. A lot is happening. They're voting close by close today in the finance bill. That's starting today. That's Business Daily.
All right. Tuvuke boda tuingie Uganda, wanazungumzia gani? Na that story about abduction of some lawyers still continues. So the Daily Monitor, that's where we start. Former Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago narrating what he went through in the 48 hours that he was under military detention at an unknown location. This story is being given quite a lot of coverage, page 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Daily Monitor. So we have a picture of Lukwago there with his wife. Yeah. At the Chief Magistrate's Court yesterday, where he was charged with misprision of treason. With misprision of treason. And remanded. So he was still remanded. But initially, before he was charged, he was under the military. That's why Muhoozi Kainerugaba alikuwa amesema atamwachilia sababu daipa zimeisha. So this is a big story in Uganda. We don't have the other paper. Let's take a look at the papers in Tanzania. We start off with The Citizen. Tanzania rules the wild, but elephants pay the price. Tanzania has cemented its position as Africa's leading wildlife powerhouse after emerging top in the population of lions and buffaloes. Kenya musiringe sana. When it comes to the population of lions and buffaloes, Tanzania rules. Even as the country grapples with a decline in elephant numbers driven largely by poaching and human pressure on protected areas. So matters wildlife conservation on the front page of The Citizen. Gazeti la Mwananchi, habari kuu pale, pacha watano, furaha, mawazo. Hadithi kama hii utaipata kwenye kurasa za mbele za magazeti ya Kenya. Lakini hali iliyopitia familia iliyojaliwa na watoto hao kwa mpigo. Wataalamu waeleza wanavyoendelea, changamoto za matunzo zilizopo mbele yao. Watoto watano mara moja. But I guess it serves, it helps wale wapendi kubeba mimba mara kadhaa. Unabeba mara moja unapata watoto watano, basi ushukuru Mungu na unaendelea. Hiyo ndio habari kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili la Mwananchi. Turejelea hapa nyumbani, tuangazie karakacha sasa.
Right. Then the Standard, it's talking about the expansion, the deal to expand JKIA. Adani Group is there. Upgrade, moto imewaka kweli kweli. Hii nini uitwaje? Kuni. The three stones.
So you see, when it was Adani Group, it was called Upgrade. That sufuria boiling.
Oh yeah.
So jumping from the boiling sufuria into the real fire now, where we're calling it expansion and modernization.
Yeah.
But hapa tutachomeka.
Yeah, China Road and Bridge Corporation, CRBC.
Yeah.
All right, that's the Standard.
Cartoon on People Daily. It has the former CJ David Maraga ako kwa takataka, anajaribu kufagia left right center. Anasema give me only one term to clean up the image of Kenya. Is he sure he is a one term? Give me only one term to clean up the image of Kenya. Yeah, he's asking you Kenyans, consider me for presidency. Yeah.
I will not steal from you.
Just one term.
Yudi anasema the Star now. Rigathi Gachagua, the caricature of Rigathi Gachagua is here, and ni kama ako kwa oxygen, according to this cartoonist. Watching President William Ruto at the G7 summit in France, interact na fellow global leaders. I
find this a bit off. Why would a cartoonist suggest that Rigathi Gachagua is having chest pains and he's on oxygen because his former boss is attending the G7 summit? This is a new cartoonist, even for the Star I can see. Yeah, you could suggest, it's the same discussions online. Watu wanakasirika sababu, I don't know, but it's just me.
That's the Star.
The cartoon on the Daily Nation, of course, Donald Trump said that whatever problem he had with Iran, they now have an agreement. Your story Meisha, akaambia hata Israel, they should follow that deal. So Strait of Hormuz is open, but in Kenya, it's like we were not ready for that. And we are telling a caricature of the president and CS Treasury saying, no, our taxes not yet, please. Don't open Strait of Hormuz. What excuse will we have for our taxes if you reopen Strait of Hormuz? Because after it's reopened, there's no longer an excuse for high fuel prices. Yeah? So those are the cartoons, and these are some of what we'll be talking about during our State of the Nation discussion. Let's take a quick look at the traffic situation in and around the city. In a short while, we'll be getting an update from our reporter on the ground, Modoni Brenda, but a quick look on Google Maps. And we can see traffic today, Eastern Bypass not so bad, but from Utawala all the way to the airport area, there's a lot of traffic there. Kama kawaida, nothing out of the ordinary. Thika Road, Leo, traffic begins from Githurai all the way to Kasarani. Then a bit of relief after Kasarani, but then once you get close to Garden City Mall, there's a lot of traffic there, all heading towards the city center. A bit of relief there at Allsops, but then again, once you get to that survey area, that Utalii Drift, it starts building up slowly towards the Pangani interchange. A bit of traffic after DCI on Kiambu Road heading towards town, but that is not as bad as what we can see on Thika Road. Jogoo Road, it's building up towards town, areas around Makadara and that roundabout Palembotela as you get close to the Likoni Road roundabout. After that, there's a bit of traffic before you get to the City Stadium roundabout and a bit more once you get to the roundabout for Landis Road. Getting into town today is not so bad. Haile Selassie, both sides heading outwards and inwards between Railways roundabout and that Landis Road roundabout. It's a bit comfortable. A bit of traffic on Moi Avenue around Kenya Archives. Zile matatu zinaenda pale kunaitwanga aje pale Ambassador. Yes. The expressway is looking good all the way from the airport to the CBD. And Wayakiwe, nothing to report there. Junction Mall, a bit of traffic. Prestige Plaza building up slowly, and the City Mortuary roundabout also. Lakini ile ambayo inaacha kuiita City Mortuary inaitwa Nairobi Funeral Home roundabout. Lakini roundabout tutaita Nairobi Funeral Home roundabout. Bado ni City Mortuary roundabout bwana. Hata Kennel walitoa hiyo Kennel, lakini bado inaitwa Kennel. Yeah. That's the traffic this morning. Let's link up with our reporter on the ground, Modoni Brenda. Modoni, good morning. How's the traffic where you are this morning?
Well, a very good morning to you, Fred Indimuli and Ann Odida. And it is indeed a classic morning here at the Koja stage in Nairobi. If you can see behind me, Fred Indimuli, traffic is just slowly starting to build up from Thika Road. It practically took us 5 to 6 minutes, give or take, driving from Kiambu Road to town. But here in the streets of Nairobi, as you can see, Nairobians are fully awake. The roadside economy is awake. Watu wa beba, watu wa smoky, watu wenye huwa wanauza scarves na trench coat, because it's a bit chilly here in Nairobi. And as always, if the roadside economy is awake, you definitely know that the county has carries as well. They are awake. And my camera person anapandio wale huko wameamka wahakikishe kwamba the streets are clean and watu wanafuata traffic rules. The traffic police are also here kuhakikisha kwamba wana try to mitigate the early morning snarl-ups. And as you can see, the human traffic iko bumper. Kenya wameamka ni asubuhi na wamechangamka. But wale ambao wanaenda Thika Road, as you can see, barabara is quite clear. Traffic is not that heavy kwa sababu I don't know mbona leo wa Kenya hawaja, lakini Indimuli, jana we noticed that so many people were walking into town. Na wakatuambia siku hizi hawatumii mabasi because bus fares have become so expensive. And so maybe that can explain why traffic is not that heavy leo hapa Thika Road ama popote pale in the CBD. So that is how traffic is looking in the city today. Indimuli, back to you and Annie in studio.
Thank you so much, Modoni Brenda, for that update on traffic in and around the CBD. And I can tell you for sure, you know, Kenyans have got into fitness. Ndio sababu wanatembea. It has nothing to do with money. We're just trying to stay fit. Yeah, we now walk. So even you walking back, kindly walk back to the office. You don't need to use a company vehicle,
Keep
right?
fit.
Keep fit.
All right. We see you online. You're watching the show and you're very, very happy with that. Good morning. This is Masha from Redmat FIFO Butchery. Hapa ni TV47 tu. Tuna watch tukingoja customers. Wacha tumalize show. Mimi ninakuja. Sijui kama Fred atakuja, lakini mimi ninakuja. Tutumie location. Utaenda?
Breakfast.
Kule nyama?
Kuna breakfast. Ya nyama.
Yamesema anangoja customers, so they are ready.
Breakfast ni muhimu sana, even as we keep fit.
Masha, thank you so much for watching the show. Okone Sami following from Lolongo, Shoni Moto, asante Sami. Gertrude Mbada following from Samburu. That caricature on Rigathi on oxygen is just funny. Kweli, Gertrude? Is it? Thank you for watching the show. And Esther Mwendwa anasema, good morning team. Asubuhi, leo Sosion asianze zile zake. I wish angekuwa amefika hapa nimwambie. Nimwambie Esther umesema asianze zile zake. Lakini zile zake gani? Talk to us. TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. On X is TV47 Digital. But before we tell you our handles, what do you have today?
Yes, on State of the Nation, yes, it's true. Wilson Sosion, former MP and unionist, will definitely be here. He'll be here alongside John Kagusha, the MP Mokoroine, as we discuss the big headlines. Amesema tumwambia asifanye nini?
Asifanye zile zake.
Asilete zile zake leo. Tamwambia.
Yeah.
After that, we'll be having a discussion on cleft lip and palate deformities.
Yeah.
Dr. Karenju Julius, a medical officer at St. Francis Community Hospital, Kasarani, will be in studio starting at 8 a.m. Later on, Mr. Fixer, remember that June is a men's mental health month, and today we're going to be having a mental health sort of discussion. Who checks on the man who checks on everyone? Kuna ule tu jamaa unajua, he's always there for everyone. He checks on his family, he checks on his friends, he checks on his parents. He's always showing up for people, but who checks on a man who checks on everyone? Who does it? Chunga sana. Naitwa Mr. Fixer. We'll be having a very big panel here. I'll be introducing them at that time.
All right. Esther, wacha nikuambie Wilson Sosion ameshaingia. Mwalimu
Wasilete zile zake.
Unaambiwa na viwa hapa tukuambie usianze zile zako. Sasa ni wewe utatuambia zile zako ni
gani.
You can tag us. My handle is @Annie_Dida.
Mine is @Fred Indimuli. Remember the hashtag is TV47 breakfast. Hashtag
story yetu.
All right. See you after the break.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hii simu yako.
Hamna pesa. I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimeekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Ikikunyuma.
Oh my God. He left me. Nitumie ni line.
Uko nje kuna wifi.
Why? High five?
Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero umeka kwa beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
You won't entertain divas. No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Ooh, yeah. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
This is a very serious place.
I see that. Surely. Hey, Nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair. It was hers.
You're new here?
Yes.
You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47.
I just want to be in the zone.
Sharp disagreements were witnessed between pro-government members of parliament and their opposition counterparts over the Finance Bill 2026, with both sides addressing media separately.
Bill, National Assembly Bill number 26 of 2026.
The Kenya Kwanza House leadership strongly defended the bill, dismissing claims that it contains punitive taxes targeting Kenyans. They insisted that there will be no new taxes, saying the proposals are a result of public participation, particularly on second-hand clothing known as mitumba, among other key clauses. Finance Committee Chairperson Kimani Kuria and Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah led the defense of Finance Bill.
We want to guarantee the country that there is no any increased taxation on rental income. what is happening now as currently in the law. Any tenant whose landlord is a non-resident person is required to withholding tax and remit to KRA. Therefore, we want to call even on those who call themselves learned. Friends, those of us who know better, please let us not use social media to propagate lies, to incite Kenyans.
However, opposition lawmakers held a separate media briefing alleging the bill contains hidden taxes on mitumba clothing and mobile phones. They vowed to introduce amendments to the bill. This is as Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndelinyoro said lawmakers should be allowed to express their opinions freely.
We are going to propose what the president said, that people earning less than 30,000 should not be paying tax. We are going to propose it. They will oppose it, you will all be witnesses. We are going to propose, because they say there's no one who pays tax on mitumba, we are going to propose that there is no tax at all that should be levied on anyone dealing with mitumba, and they will oppose.
So what we are saying is this: the bill, Finance Bill 2026, it is the most punitive bill and the worst than 2024. Kenyans must understand that.
Parents who are going to pay school fees as low as 200 shillings, they are going to be taxed. Young people who work overnight on digital platforms, their jobs is on digital platform, from now is going to be taxed. Mama mboga, if you go to pay, to buy mboga and pay, is going to be taxed. The president, by force, introduced e-citizen.
With this finance bill, Honorable Speaker, members can actually come up with innovative ideas on how to raise more revenue, on how to raise more A&A, so that there is actually no deficit. So the entire amount we are dealing with is actually 4.8 trillion Kenya shillings, Honorable Speaker. And it is important for the members who are near me that we also respect the views of all members.
The bill seeks to raise an additional 98.9 billion shillings through a combination of tax administration reforms, expanded compliance measures, and targeted changes to existing taxes. The Finance Committee says the bill does not introduce a new tax rate on rental income. Instead, it creates a simplified framework requiring non-resident landlords earning income from Kenyan property to register with Kenya Revenue Authority and file monthly returns. The baton now shifts to the Committee of the Whole House, where members from both government and opposition are expected to propose amendments on the Finance Bill 2026. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi.
All right, not much has been said about the Finance Bill 2026, and many were hoping. I know for a fact that CS John Barry was hoping that this one would go through without incident. But it would appear that the kind of contention we've just seen in that story may reignite memories of what we saw or witnessed in 2024, June 2024, when the Gen Z protests were recorded in opposition or in protest against the finance bill of that year. Is this what we anticipate? It's exactly 1 week from the second anniversary of the events of June 25th, 2024. And this is coming up again. MPs opposed to the finance bill saying that it is worse than what we saw in 2024. With me this morning in studio is Wilson Sosion, a Kenyan teacher, a trade unionist, and also a politician. Karibu sana, Bwana Sosion.
Asante.
He's the only panelist who's in studio this morning, and that's where we start our discussion. So on the finance bill, and you've seen the kind of contention between the majority and the minority side in Parliament, there seems to be a bit of lack of understanding, because the majority side insists that even the critics from the minority side have not understood what is contained in the finance bill. I don't know, are we saying that people at the level of MPs in the National Assembly can collectively be wrong?
Yeah, indeed. When you are wrong, you are wrong. It doesn't matter where you are. Whether you are in church and you are wrong, you are wrong. Whether you are in Parliament, you are wrong, you are wrong. I saw the leader of majority, Kimani Ichung'wah, putting to task Honorable Mbui for alleging that there was tax imposition on mitumba and it is not contained in the finance bill. And he's debating a bill that he has in his hands, which he has not read. You know, the reading culture in Kenya has gone so much down that we only peddle gossip around in debating issues. So really, the finance bill is before the House. It is a bill for the Republic of Kenya. It is not a bill for an individual, and it outlines the taxation measures and revenue collection strategies to finance the budget. And revenue anyway will have to be collected. And looking at the finance bill of this year, there are no new taxes that have been introduced. But you see, when you see a gang of opposition leaders creating,
right?
Yeah, it's a gang. Because when you tell the public that there are taxes against Mitumba when they are not there, and you are saying it in the House of Parliament, you are trying to cheat the public. I think it has reached a time that really we begin auditing ourselves, check what we speak. Let us speak facts to Kenyans.
Okay, but it is a fact. It is a fact, that initially there was an introduction of excise duty of 5% on Mitumba, which was later removed. After that, there was a proposal for imposition of VAT on Mitumba as well. So attempts to introduce taxation on Mitumba was a reality. Maybe a few things have changed. The MPs from the minority side insist that there's still some hidden taxes there, and they now propose that if at all those pushing for a finance bill are sure there's no tax imposition on Mitumba, then they will propose an amendment to say a clause, to introduce a clause saying that there will be no tax on Mitumba. Do you think that that's the best way to go about it?
You're not afraid. We cannot reconstruct how laws are made in this country. If you are not reading bills in the first place, the bills that are before you, and you're making allegations that are inaccurate, that are not contained in the bill, why do you discuss what is not in the bill? If it is not in the bill, it's not in the bill.
Okay,
you can discuss.
But even as an amendment,
and you see,
even because they're still debating.
And you see, we cannot run governance on speculative gossips, particularly legislation. And in legislation, particularly of the finance bill and of the budget, it goes through a thorough, detailed public participation process. The bill that is before the House is not even what it was when it was proposed. When it went through public participation and debates were made, and remember the Mitumba taxes, the 5% was proposed by Mitumba dealers themselves to the CS National Treasury. And we run an open National Treasury. We can see the debates, we can see the proposals, and if it is not contained in the current bill and it was expunged, it is mere cheap political expediency to say you want to introduce an item that is not in the bill. But
it is a right of any member of parliament to
No, that is not how laws are made. That is not how laws are made.
Are you saying that a member of parliament, either from the majority or minority side, cannot introduce an amendment?
You can introduce an amendment.
Yes.
And they're free to do so.
Including adding a clause saying that there will be no taxation imposed on Mitumba?
If that is practical, let it be put in the finance bill.
So you agree that's a good way of them doing it?
No, it's not a good way. That's not how laws are made. You cannot put prohibitive clauses for non-existent actions. It doesn't happen that way. The process of dealing with finance bill in terms of the procedures of the House is that you do the first reading. And after the first reading, it goes to public participation. Then, after the second reading, conduct the second reading. That is where you debate now freely. So, the bill now is at the stage of the second reading. And I expect a member of parliament, after the first reading, to have read through the details of the bill and even to have known what the public are speaking about, what is contained in the bill, not what is not contained in the bill. And when it comes for the second reading, then they can debate effectively and constructively. But when you see a member of parliament rising to debate against a clause that does not exist in the bill, then you wonder what business are some of our parliamentarians doing if we are not reading details contained in the bills. And after the second reading, you can make your proposals for amendments.
Yes.
And you can file by notice as a member.
So it will give the right to
you want to make.
Yes.
Yes. So you make those proposals, and when the bill goes through committee of the whole house, clause by clause, when that will be done, then you will propose your amendment, defend it before the house, and the house will vote for it or against it.
Okay.
So any member is free to bring any clause the way you want, the way you want to frame it,
all right,
and defend it. And if by the standing, and of course, you cannot introduce a clause that prohibits an action that is not envisaged in the bill. It is whether you have it there or you don't have it.
Okay. The other proposal was an amendment on the taxation of people earning below 30,000 shillings. It had been mentioned earlier this year as a matter of promise by the CS Treasury that in as far as offering relief to low-income earners, that he would propose in this finance bill that anyone earning 30,000 and below will not be subject to payee. Then later he explained that it would not be feasible this time round. The minority side insists that they will introduce this through an amendment to the finance bill, that they will add that clause offering relief to people earning 30,000. Actually, they say 50,000 and below. What do you think the intention is here by that group?
Anybody can even propose that anybody earning 60,000 and below can be exempt from pay. Yeah, because it's anybody can propose. We're a free country, we've got a free process, and if you make that proposal and it carries, so be it. But I want to state that the president has made a declaration on exemption of Kenyans earning 30,000 shillings and below.
But it's not contained in the finance bill.
The president has made that proposal, and the minister has made that commitment. If a member is going to propose and it is customized into the current finance bill, then that is fair and square. I don't think there is any dispute about that one. There is no dispute. The president has made a commitment.
The Treasury, in its knowledge, did not find it fit
the president
to make this proposal through the finance bill.
A commitment. The CS National Treasury has accepted it's going to be implemented.
But not in this budget cycle.
And if the minority team are bold enough, then they should make that proposal as one of the key amendments to the bill. And I don't think anybody will dispute it.
All right.
I don't think that is in dispute.
In their address,
it is progress.
In their address to the public yesterday, the members of the minority said that this is the worst finance bill seen in the last few years, meaning that it is worse than what was witnessed in 2024 that brought about the kind of protests.
Let us separate sensational politics from...
we're only 1 week to the anniversary of the 2025.
And that is exactly why it is being...
events.
And that is why exactly they're trying to paint it and give it all negative adjectives. When you see a whole member of parliament telling the world that Mitumba is going to be taxed, and that clause is not anywhere near the bill, that is pure incitement. Not that that member of parliament is a fool, is not innocent. He's only trying to use lies to incite the public. That is incitement, pure incitement. If you want to mobilize on facts. If you mobilize on the basis of facts, then it would not be called incitement. And I think you had the Chief Justice the other day talk about it and say, yes, we have seen demonstrations in the country, demonstration by teachers, which are very largely very peaceful, effective, no casualties, but then you're talking about the violent demonstration that we witnessed as actually but a class of criminal actions. It is not any different from this kind of lies that we are seeing from the floor of the House. This is just but setting the stage for the political activities, for the ugly, envisaged political actions of 25th.
Do you anticipate anything next week, now that you're already saying that there's incitement? Do you anticipate any upheaval, any kind of protest next week, or even opposition towards this finance bill?
The finance bill can be opposed by anybody, and it must be opposed in a procedural manner. It is before the House. There is no way the finance bill can be canvassed outside the House. No way. Matters contained in the finance bill and facts of the finance bill must be dealt with within the House. Right. And if you want to incite the public, you must have credible points of incitement. Convince Kenyans how this bill is worse compared to other finance bills. Which clause? What item?
The Standard already terms this a tax bill rebellion, talking about opposition to the finance bill. And they say the pushback reflects growing anxiety within political circles over the risk of reigniting public anger reminiscent of the 2024 Gen Z protests. Do you agree?
Which paper is that?
This is a Standard.
Standard, you read the headlines yesterday and the other day. It is just but it has turned into...
Okay, let's take a look at the Daily Nation then. Finance bill, MPs reject public push to lower pay.
Pardon?
MPs reject public push to lower pay. That is a headline on the front page of the Daily Nation on the same story.
The debate on the pay is not, it is already there. It's a conversation and a commitment has been made by the President and the CS Treasury. That is a fact. So that heading is quite okay.
MP's tax battle sets stage for Gen Z memorial. Do you see the disagreement or the contention raised yesterday as being negative in as far as influencing what that memorial?
No, you angle, the headline is still angled to link. This is a very...
Would you, the way you've classified the Standard, would you classify the Star the same way?
That is exposing a fact that there is an attempted link. There is an attempt to link the tax battle that we are seeing, which is of course phantom in Parliament, with Gen Z memorial. So this one is an expose of the fact. It makes sense. If it was to do it, this is mischievous. This is raw and factual incitement. You can't splash. You see the headline the way it is, but when you read the content is not there. Intellectually speaking, we want to audit the finance bill clause by clause and show me.
I think even Business Daily has MPs block fresh attempts to increase KRA's powers. That's something else that is a bit contentious, contained in some of these discussions around budget.
And those are regulatory duties of Parliament, and that's a factual information of the action that the Parliament has taken in its spirit of its mandate of representation of the people and oversighting institutions. So that's a factual statement.
Right.
We can audit, we can look at all the headlines in all the newspapers in the world, and you will agree
and you condemn the Standard
that this one falls far, far below the minimum set standards of ethical journalism. I'm not a journalist myself, but at least I know matters of ethics.
All right, that's a coverage. That's the coverage of the discussions.
If we want chaos on
the finance bill,
if we want chaos on 25th, then go out to the street and tell the people that we want chaos. Don't look for. Don't use the finance bill. Don't use the finance bill
is being on and on about. Has it on the front page against the headline "Tax Bill Rebellion" against a black background. The battle over the Finance Bill 2026 has escalated into a fierce political showdown after MPs mounted a rare revolt against key national treasury proposals, deleting, diluting and rewriting measures expected to raise an additional 120 billion shillings. While the government insists there are no new punitive taxes, critics accuse it of barring higher costs in technical tax provisions and pushing the bill through Parliament without adequate scrutiny. So all these are members of Parliament, not anyone outside, but they disagree. One side says that some punitive proposals are contained inside and hidden through technical say technical what here?
And you know, Fred.
Technical tax.
And you know, Fred. And you know, Fred. No, listen. And you know, Fred. The bill.
Why do you think the standard is against the finance bill?
Let us not imagine that we want to analyze the finance bill like we are analyzing issues in a literature class. This is not literature. And this is not
but
art.
Journalism is all about literature.
No. This is not literature. This is not art. It's about law and facts of law, and it's written in plain language.
Then
that is
on what
simple,
basis are you
understood?
On what basis are you arguing that the standard is wrong?
I'm challenging anybody who wants to point out those punitive arguments on taxes, that they are hidden in some technical language and quoted and hidden somewhere, because you cannot hide figures and facts, and you cannot hide statements of law. Law is written in simple, straightforward language that can be understood by anybody, and you cannot deceive the public that there is something else inside here which is difficult to read through when you conduct a plain reading and understanding of the bill. The bill is what it is. There is no other bill. And the clauses is what will govern the operations of collection of revenue for the next 1 year. And truth is, the introduction of new punitive taxes does not exist. So if some group want to mobilize some Kenyans for chaos on 25th, look for something else and go to the streets.
MP
and those
Robert
who want.
Mui,
let me make one clear statement.
Yes.
Well, let me make one clear statement. You have asked whether there will be activities and demonstrations and what. Article 237 is plain. It allows people to picket and to do things peaceably and unarmed. It's a straight language. Tell me, Fred, what peaceably means in English and unarmed. When you carry a stone, when you carry a machete or an iron bar and you hit vehicles, you break into supermarkets and you use fire, that is contravening Article 37. Right. And that is what the Chief Justice talked about the other day. And there's a man who has organized demonstrations in this country, peaceful, massive and effective, with no loss of life, no loss of property.
So the any protests next week are welcome, as long as they're peaceable and unarmed. All right. Allow me to challenge even the MPs from the minority side in Parliament, now that Robert Mbui, the MP for Kathiani, was forced by Speaker of the National Assembly to withdraw his claim that there were taxes imposed on Mitumba through the finance bill. The fact that he had to withdraw that says something. Do Kenyans some justice. Come out clearly and talk about the clauses that you feel have imposed, even hidden under technical tax jargon and provisions. Kindly, as a member of Parliament, kindly come out and talk about the specific clauses that do this. That way, you'd have provided clarity to all people. I think that's fair enough.
Correct.
Yes, so that we can continue this conversation
let's deal with
clarity.
Facts.
All right. Yeah. Now that you talked about violence and protests and the provisions in the Constitution that any Kenyan is allowed to picket and to protest peaceably and unarmed, we want to take a look at a different aspects of politics and the violent side of it that has been captured on the front page of the People Daily. Let's talk about this. Feeding the monster, dark evolution of state-backed goons. And it's called Chaos Headquarters, Nairobi. The latest incident, of course, involving a number of goons who entered a church in Nairobi, the All Saints Cathedral to be exact, and disrupted a grouping or a sitting where they were discussing budget making process or the budget statement as had been presented by CS John Badi. We have a story here on TV47 about the investigations and how far they've gone in as far as investigating who owns the goons. Let's watch that story.
The recent attack at the All Saints Cathedral has amplified the question, whose goons are they? A Bunge la Mwananchi member spoke to TV47, alleging that some of the members of the forum were among the attackers.
It has come to my attention, clearly as a leader of Bunge la Mwananchi, that our own members were used, not just as goons. Part of the team that were being trained in there carried a number of our members.
The leader stated that members of the Bunge la Mwananchi who had attended the forum for discussions of a national budget were shocked to find themselves being attacked by their colleagues from Bunge la Mwananchi. From the viral CCTV footages, members could easily identify their colleagues even with the caps on.
They realized in trying to escape that the people that were attacking them were actually part of our own membership. One clearly that I saw even before I was told about this story is a member of Bunge la Mwananchi, but he goes to several bunges. Sometimes he comes to Jivanji, sometimes he goes to Kibra, sometimes he goes to Jacaranda, sometimes he goes to John Saga. And he's the gentleman. If you remember how this thing all happened, you remember they first came in, then they went, and then they came. There was this guy who was having kofia.
And if these are the alleged goons, who owns them? He accuses at least from the county politicians of funding the goons, two of seeking a county top leadership, while one is leading a national movement.
A lot of people that infiltrate Bunge la Mwananchi programs are actually aligned to the operatives at the City Hall.
I have never and will never sponsor violence of any kind. My entire political life has been anchored on siasa safi.
We ask that everyone, regardless of their position, must respect places of worship, and that the government must put in sufficient effort to ensure that places of worship, like All Saints Cathedral, are protected from political goonism.
The Bunge la Mwananchi leader pointed a finger at the government, civil rights groups, and the police.
Oftentimes, when the civil society organizations want to have their functions, whether for good reason or for bad reason, they have always come to us. We help recruit for them participants. But at the same time, we've also noticed when sometimes people are in trouble, like politicians, and even some civil society organizations, some of their demonstrations, they also need rowdy men. And oftentimes, they have fallen back to us.
The leader says the young people who make the largest part of the Bunge la Mwananchi often fall prey because most are unemployed.
What they pay you is even meager, and they take advantage of you. But we also understand in these hard economic times, somebody ametafuta kazi na hajapata. So what happens at the end of the day? When you show up and telling them you can make some 200 or 500 at the end of the day, they will fall for that. But it is pathetic. It is unfortunate that that happens.
Inspector General Douglas Kanja has since revealed that an immediate crackdown on criminal goons is underway.
If there is anyone who is going to be mentioned in the course of that investigation, then we will go to them. Nobody will be left free as long as you are involved in that activity.
Faith Wangari, TV47.
The big question, who owns these goons? Who are they working for? Who hired them? Who pays them? It is very apparent from the story that we've just shown you that police officers were present. Were they unable to control these goons? Were they part of the group? Were they protecting the goons who invaded the All Saints Cathedral Church and disrupted a meeting by civil society groups to discuss the budget? Who is against a discussion on the budget? So, Bwana Sosion, this issue of goonism, we've discussed it before, especially in the context of politicians using them against their rivals, political rivals during campaigns. But now we're seeing that we are probably getting to a point where we are almost formalizing the use of goons to disrupt discussions that may not seem comfortable, or maybe the people having conversations around the budget are not welcome to have the same. What exactly is happening?
We should not be shy to face the goon menace in our country. It did not start yesterday. I have personally been a victim of goons who were brought in to block my entry to KNUT officers in 2018, and ostensibly with the knowledge of the CS Interior at that time, who is very busy talking about goons, and is the father of goons, Fred Matiang'i, doctor. I'm sorry to say so. And even with court orders, the police were instructed not to execute the court order. So this culture has been there. And the CS Interior, the current CS Interior, has spoken candidly and honestly about it, that these goons are patronized by politicians. They don't exist from nowhere. They are sponsored. And these goons are not only found in Nairobi, they are found everywhere in the country. And goonism is a culture where the youth have evolved, and looks like there are some kind of high-flying security persons around the politicians, and when there are events, they come in handy to manage and to do all that. So they don't exist from the blues. They are financed by political leaders. That is a fact.
So even this one, the ones who invaded All Saints Cathedral, must have been financed by political
They must have been financed because they cannot motivate themselves from nowhere.
Why do you think the police are turning a blind eye?
And the police is not turning a blind eye.
Or failing to intervene?
On this one of the All Saints, we've seen the DCI has taken action, and the investigations on the same, and that should be done conclusively, and they are treated as criminals as such. These are crimes. And these are criminals.
You've seen that video we've just been showing.
These are crimes.
And the police officers were definitely present there, having accompanied.
No, you cannot expect.
We saw it's actual footage, because there was CCTV footage, and which is.
Now we have seen within the footage. It doesn't mean that a police officer everywhere he must fight everyone.
What is the work of the police?
It doesn't work that way.
That if goons are here, the police should not fight them?
It doesn't work that way. We need to get the exact context of what was happening within that space. We need to get a proper investigative report of exactly what was happening.
Bwana Sosion, you've just described goonism as criminal. And you're saying that the police should not deal with criminal elements?
Let us get the sequence of how things happened at the All Saints. And this report of the All Saints, we need a very incisive, detailed report of what happened. And let us not hurry into accusing one or two policemen who could have been nearby of not taking action. That is not how police operate. They operate through proper structures
to take
and
action against criminal activity.
proper commands. Proper command.
What do you call failure by police to take action against obvious criminal elements? You've just described goonism as criminal.
It is criminal.
If police are present during a criminal or during a crime being committed, what should the police do? What is the work of the police if they cannot intervene in an obvious situation of criminal liability?
In the context of the All Saints Cathedral, you look at the commotions and the movements. Even if you are a security officer, you will have to take time to understand what is happening. You would have to. So really, it is wrong for us to hurry into conclusions and begin accusing the police.
You said that
the investigative agencies, yes, the investigative agencies.
In that instance where you are a victim of goons, would you have wanted police to intervene? Or would you have wanted police to wait until after the event for them to do investigations? If at all they were present at same space?
The police never intervened.
Yes, would you have wished that they would have intervened?
I would have wished very much. Very much.
But you're saying in this instance they should not. They did right by not intervening.
No, I've not said they did right. I've not said they did right. I've only said we need to understand the context under which they were unable to act.
Allow me to welcome
that is explanation.
our other panelist into this debate. John Kagusha is the MP Mukurweini. Good morning, sir. Karibu sana to TV47 Breakfast. It's good to have you back after such a long time. I think I last hosted you 2 years ago.
Well, I've been here, but hosted by another host.
Karibu sana.
And thank you very much, and I apologize for the lateness this morning.
We've been talking about the finance bill and the kind of division and contentions raised in Parliament yesterday. But for now, you found us just having moved to a different conversation about Goonism and what happened at the Cathedral. The police are saying they're investigating. When Sosion here feels that the kind of police action witnessed in this particular incident was correct, yet many feel that they turned a blind
don't put
eye
words in my
by
mouth.
failing
I didn't say it was correct. You have asserted that the police who were there did not act.
To intervene, yes.
Did not act. Did not act. So the context of and the circumstances that did not allow them to act is what we need to understand. I didn't say the crime was correct. It was criminal, it was a crime,
let's see
and that is untenable.
Let's hear what Bonakagusha
I think let me jump into the conversation. I just want to recap just a bit on the issue of the finance bill.
No, I'll give you time on that.
Okay.
We'll read.
So on the issue of the goons, I can see how my friend here, Sosion, is struggling with it, because it's clear as a country we have gotten into a time when goons have become modus operandi of government. We had thought when government gets involved in the mission in Haiti, would learn and would never use that kind of a method in Kenya. Unfortunately, government has made use of goons a way of life, a way of operation, and the informal arrangement on how to deal with political dissidents and political rebellion and different opinions, and that is what they have chosen. What you saw happening in All Saints Cathedral is not a first-time activity. You will recall last year a similar situation ensued at the Kenyan National Human Rights Commission in the compound of a government agency, where there was a discussion of a similar nature. Policemen accompanying goons invaded that meeting, destroyed property, harassed people, assaulted women, and that happened in broad daylight. It was on a Sunday afternoon. It was captured on camera. Names were floated for the people who did that. Faces were shown on camera, on TV, but no action was taken. And a similar situation now has happened in this case. You will recall that a team of about 15 policemen was formed to deal with the Gachagua phenomena in the country. And even this time, when these goons were hired, if you listen to them, what they're saying, they say that they were told there's a Gachagua mission in town. They're going to deal with the Gachagua meeting in town. Of course, when they go to town, it changed and they were taken to a church. Maybe some of them would have felt, no, we're not going to church. And probably some of them would have refused that mission. That's why they were being lied to. But this is what we have decided to. It's very shameful. It's something that we also find ourselves in a position not to explain even how to even discuss it. Because when the government itself, that is supposed to protect Kenyans, uses vulnerable young people, pays them to disrupt official meetings, democratic meetings, then we are left without, any remarks in those kind of situations.
Who would be opposed to a discussion around the budget-making process? Why would anyone be uncomfortable? We're in an era where public participation is encouraged. This group at the All Saints Cathedral was discussing budget estimates and the finance bill. Who would be opposed to such a discussion?
what is happening, the government is doing a lot of disservice to Kenyans, but they want to do it under cover of darkness. They do not want people to know. Yesterday, I was able to point out to Kenyans what was being passed under the supplementary 2 budget. That in the office of the deputy president, they had put 200 million Kenya shillings, and it is 2 weeks to go. And in the office of the president, State House, they had put 1 billion Kenya shillings. They had put 3.55 billion Kenya shillings for operations, for
2 weeks to the end of the financial year.
For recurrent, for NIS. They had put 1.55 billion Kenya shillings for recurrent, again in the office of CS, Murkomen. And counting that in total is 6.3 billion. Now, this supplementary budget is brought later in the day in Parliament, when members, of course, have been tossed up and down with the finance bill issue, and so they expect it's not going to have a lot of participation. But I was able to point out that, and when I stood, before I could talk for a minute, I was disrupted by a member from Migori. Before I could talk for another minute, I was disrupted by Ishongwa. Before I could talk another minute, I was interrupted by KJ. And I was disrupted, and that video you'll see, it is 17 minutes video. In that 17-minute video, I'm disrupted 6 times. Of course, I'm happy the speaker who was on the seat was graceful to allow me time to still proceed and reply and have responses. But you can see what these guys are doing is to ensure that the public will never get to know the truth. Can you imagine you are appropriating 6.3 billion Kenya shillings to the highest offices in the land? 2 weeks. Ni peremende kwao. They're supposed to chew 6.3 billion Kenya shillings before the end of this year. And when is the date today? 18th of June.
It's actually less than 2 weeks.
That is it. Now, that is the government we have today. Why won't they get goons to ensure that that information does not get to the public? Because public has become very aware and very awoke. And whenever they get information, they use it to take action against government. So the only thing the government is left with now is ensure that the information that is in those documents does not get to the public. That is why they will do anything. That is why they will disrupt meetings. That is why they will hire goons. And that is why they will disrupt parliamentary debates. If you see anyone who is telling Kenyans the truth and trying to unveil what is in those documents, especially very serious members of parliament who are able to go through those documents and pick out on the issues that government is pushing to Kenyans, then you find the kind of attitude and the kind of disruptions they face in parliament.
Yes.
So it's not a wonder that they're doing this. I mean, remember, for the longest time, we were told that Gachagua was hiring goons for himself, until one day God decided to reveal exactly what has been happening. And these guys were caught red-handed. And we understand that team was disbanded, a team of 15. But the names have been given to police. The names have been given on TV. The faces...
But no action taken.
Faces have been published by media houses, even by the opposition, even by churches. But no action has been taken.
What do you say to that?
We don't even expect action to be taken.
Even in this one, the latest one at the All Saints Cathedral, we do not expect action.
At least for the first time, I have had the head of police trying to talk tough. But also we understand that he's not in charge. He also doesn't understand, he doesn't even know how those things are done and how they are planned.
We've seen police action when associated and how effective it is in handling protests where thousands are involved. Goons are usually about 15, in groups of 15, 20. Are we saying police are unable to contain or even arrest or investigate such issues and take action?
And Mheshimiwa here should be very fair. The goon business is not a new thing. And goons don't emerge from the blues. And goons are not owned by government. They're not government entities, that's a fact for sure. And I don't think the police will be in a pleasure of financing and retaining goons for a job that they can do.
But we've seen them accompanying the goons.
For a job
Some
that
were
they can
armed.
do. Let's get down to the facts of it. Because don't cherry pick, don't choose what suits you and try to push a blame to a quarter you are not comfortable with for the time being. The fact is, these goons have been bred, raised, and sustained by our political leaders, including Mheshimiwa and all of you. We must accept. No, that's a fact.
I'm sorry.
And don't just isolate.
I can't allow
don't
that.
cherry pick what is within
sorry, I can't allow that.
And it's across the country.
On that one.
Yes, you've already raised your objection.
He has said that, including Kagusha, I don't use goons. In fact, the phenomena he's saying, that is not a new phenomena on the issue of goons. It is true, goons have been used in this country before. But it's the first time ever in the history of this republic that government has mainstreamed the use of goons in its activities.
I beg to disagree. Because I don't think there is any government budget that sustains goons or sustains other crooks outside this arrangement. The fact is, and the CS Interior has spoken about it, that these goons are owned by political leaders. And it is true, I am a political leader myself. With it. So this is an ecosystem we all know. And when I say you, I'm not saying I have a perfect witness that you keep some specific goons. Anybody in elected position across the country or desiring will have these goons one way or the other. And that is not a style of doing politics. Mm-hmm. It is not. It is wrong. And we cannot raise dangerous gangs. We cannot raise dangerous gangs and try to shift the blame to the police. Police are workers. They have a job to do.
And they cannot contain obvious crimes.
And
whether coming from government or opposition
I will stand for the police. There are things the police will not be able to manage.
Manage a group of 14, 15 people
we make
who
it
are obviously armed?
We make it difficult for them. And if we are raising these gangs,
surely,
no, I'm talking.
We've seen these police officers deal with protesters in their hundreds.
I'm talking facts that we see. We've seen the police trying to deal with riots, and it's difficult to deal with riots.
But they managed to contain rioters and protesters.
No.
A group of 15.
Do you think the riots that we have witnessed in this country is anything that has been a cup of tea for the police? It is not. And if we are raising criminal gangs, then we are preparing for gangs takeover in this country.
All right.
No, you've talked about Haiti. How did Haiti collapse? Because you allowed gangs with guns to reign supreme, run over the legitimate security agencies. We are not an island as a country. If we are brooding and raising goons, we've seen them, they've gone to church, and some action has been taken. And I think the police, the investigative agencies, leave alone those police in uniform.
Do you expect any action to be taken in this time?
It must be taken. To me, action must be taken.
Action was never taken.
Action must be taken
last year.
No, I'm saying action must be taken against goons and any other criminal elements by the police.
So finally, you accept this some culpability on the side of the police.
And Kagusha, let us not mix this thing and politicize and try to push it to unnecessary quarter. Let's agree.
Final word on this before we go back to the finance.
Well, I hope Sosion is listening to himself as he's talking and he's giving the negative effects and impact of use of goons. I hope he's listening to himself quoting Haiti so that he can understand the dangers of government adopting he can understand. Mukurweini, we have no goons, my friend.
It is possible
the politics of Mukurweini have not been politics of goonism. And I once wrote the Inspector General of Police, Kanja, and I told him, man, I'm extremely disappointed with your approach to this thing. And I told him in an SMS, whether he replied or not is not my problem. I told him, you as the head of police, your work is not to protect UDA politicians. Your work is to execute the mandate you have objectively for the protection of all Kenyans. Kenyans who are doing a post-budget review, you must protect them. Gachagua, when he holds a political rally, you must protect him. Sosion, if you want to hold a political rally, you must protect him. His is not a subjective approach to issues. He must be objective, because those people who are doing that post-budget review meeting, they are taxpayers, meaning they have paid for the salary of Kanja. They have paid for the salary of those policemen who are involved. In fact, they have also paid tax that is being misused by sending those goons. And they deserve their protection under whatever circumstances. These cases of goonism are not an isolated issue. They are very well coordinated. And they have targeted one side of the divide. Anyone who has a different voice from government. Maybe Sosion could have explained what a coincidence that anytime you have a voice that is different from the government voice, then it is attacked by goons. It's such a beautiful coincidence that somehow anyone who has something different from what government thinks will be meted with force through goonism. You see, in earlier regimes, what we used to see is police tear gassing protesters, police tear gassing meetings. And these were uniformed policemen. And there's some comfort in knowing that the person who is tear gassing you is a uniformed policeman, because you also know there are certain limits they can go to. And that is a reasonable force to use, probably, even though it could still be illegal and unnecessary. But in this scenario, even when the court has ordered that policemen will only operate while they are in uniform, police uniform, we have seen a different way of approach to them.
Okay.
They wield weapons and stones. I remember when we had gone for a Sunday service sometime in Kigumo with members of our team. And then we were accosted by policemen. They closed the exit where we were exiting. And then they had a Land Rover. We had policemen in uniform and AK-47s and other big guns. Then we had other policemen who were not in uniform. They were holding pistols. And then they were holding chondo, baskets of stones. And they were getting the stones from the Land Cruiser, throwing the stones at us as they fire in the air. Unfortunately, 2 of them fired directly to the cars. That's when the Kigumo, the former member of, the former MP of Kigumo, Jamle Kamau's car was shot at. That is when the former member of Machakos, Munyaka, his car was shot at. Those guys were getting baskets from the car, from the police Land Cruiser. They throw the stones to us. Then when they get finished, they go and replenish. And then policemen are actually backing them up. That is a team that was there to be, was later used at Odaya in Witima Church. So that coordination between the goonism and policemen is something that is, that is being used in Kenya today. And we hope and believe that this last weekend event be the last one in Kenya.
All right. Because of time, allow me to move on from that and reintroduce the debate about the finance bill that we were discussing with Bonaparte.
Sure.
Because yesterday what we witnessed and the kind of press conferences that the different sides gave out later left a lot to be desired. These are members of the National Assembly who should have a better understanding of the documents they're debating. You being right now probably supporting one side, we would like to know, do you support those who say that the finance bill contains clauses hidden under technical jargon so that Kenyans may not understand, and the description that the Finance Bill 2026 is actually the worse than the Finance Bill of 2024. This was a pronouncement by the MPs yesterday. And the critics are saying that even as the people opposed, the members of the National Assembly opposed to this bill, are just rage baiting, that they were not able to pick out the clauses to tell Kenyans, these are the exact clauses we say are punitive. One of your members was forced by the Speaker to withdraw a statement he made, meaning that he did not have defense.
Let me point out this to Kenyans. I want us to look at this debate, and I want us to look at the issue of the finance bill in totality. The budget that was passed in the National Assembly last week is a 4.8 trillion budget. The estimated revenue collection is 3.6 trillion Kenya shillings next year. How much have we collected this year? How much did we collect last year? We are finishing the year, and the collections by KRA are not anything more than 2.6 trillion Kenya shillings. So what's the difference?
About 1 trillion.
1 trillion. Now, this 1 trillion is the difference between estimated collections this year, or projected collections this year, and projected collections next year, as per the budget. Then I also want you to note that from the 3.6, we have 4.8. So there's another 1.2 deficit. So strictly looking at that budget, the budget deficit is not 1.2 trillion that we are talking about. To me, the budget deficit is 2.2 trillion Kenya shillings, strictly speaking. Why am I saying this? When Kimani Kuria stands in Parliament and Ishongwa stands in Parliament, what are they saying and what are they telling Kenyans? This finance bill is not increasing taxes at all. Are you getting me? This finance bill is not increasing taxes at all. And if you look at even their estimations from this finance bill, they're talking of 98 billion increase. But when you look at their projections, there's a whopping 1 trillion Kenya shillings difference between the projected collections this year and next year. Now, that can start informing you about the lies and the deception of both the budget and the finance bill. Now, let's go to the issues. There's something they are calling a pre-populated tax. And this is going to be based on your ETIMS activities, based on your M-Pesa activities, and based on your account. So
you're talking about KRA's plan to pre-populate the filing of returns.
That is it, and also your taxes at any one point in time. In February, in December, they can come to you, look at all your accounts, and look at your operations, and for some reason decide that looking at your M-Pesa, looking at your account, and looking at your ETIMS, we think you ought to have paid tax of about 3 million Kenya shillings, which you did not pay. And so using that, they will throw the tax burden on you, and then you are left to be the one to prove, or with the burden of proof on your side. Then they have added something extra on that, on the issue of the agency notice. When they pre-populate like that, and they find that you have a tax liability of 3 million, for example, based on your operations, even without you having to defend yourself, they will give you an agency notice. Now, this finance bill is allowing them to attach your property based on the agency notice that they are giving.
And this is contained through an express clause in the finance bill?
Of course it is.
How come this is not being mentioned expressly? Because, for example, and this is something that played out in Parliament, the argument about a tax imposed on Mitumba that even the Honourable MP for Kathiani, Robert Mbui, presented. And then when he asked to explain, he opted to withdraw. Kenyans are watching him and saying, okay, fine, if MPs are not so sure about these provisions, how come they're arguing this way?
No, let me tell you, did you see the report for the finance bill? It's 800 pages. There are very many things inside there. I wish more members would have been given opportunity to respond and to give their analysis of that finance bill. I had taken a whole 2 days analyzing the report and analyzing the finance bill itself.
And put out the contentious issues.
Yes, of course.
Impunity.
That is it. And when we pick out these issues, we were meant to bring them on the floor of the House. But what would happen is at any time our member is raising an issue, they are bombarded with, standing orders, with the orders in the House. And of course, this is being done to derail, so that information doesn't come out. But you see how we have many other forums to keep on debating this. And so I want to now inform you that the issue of the agency notice, to me, really goes against the Article 47 of our Constitution on administrative, fair administrative action, whereby you are put on the defense, burden of proof is put on you on issues that ought to have been raised by the KRA themselves. They're the ones who are supposed to have the proof. But now they come to you, then they veneer or they come on you, and then you are left to push your case on your own. And of course, you know that makes KRA a behemoth. It opens doors for corruption. It opens doors for arm twisting and blackmail for Kenyans. Now, that is just one point that I wanted to raise. But there are those issues that they were raising in the press conference yesterday, some of those issues that were being raised. You see, what is happening is that quite a number of items that have been zero rated before have now been put under the exempt rated category, like animal feeds, like lithium batteries. And you know, these lithium batteries are the ones that are also being used now in the motorcycles. Also the e-bikes, electric bikes. They are also doing the same for imported sugar used for confectionaries, although I know the industry have raised a very serious opposition to this, and I saw it now in the report that they are removing it. Yeah, they are returning it back to zero rated. There are many other items in that category that have been taken to tax exempt now, including pharmaceuticals. Now, what that means, and this is now clause 31 of the bill that we have in Parliament. Now, this in itself is going to make all those items much more expensive than before, because it means that you cannot be able to claim your VAT input anymore when it is under tax exempt category. There's also another one which is very suspect, the issue of zero rating the materials used in PPP, public-private partnerships projects, and affordable houses projects. Now, whereas things and items and products for the lowly people in the society are being put under tax exempt, the building materials for affordable houses, which sometimes people call avoidable houses, are now being zero rated. Now, how are you going to differentiate someone buying cement, buying tiles, that they're going to be used for affordable houses, or they're going to be used for public-private partnership projects, as opposed to a normal construction? Yeah. So that, of course, you find it's something that is going to open.
So what is the challenge here?
Yeah.
Is it that the way it has been written down, or the way it's been provided for in the finance bill, that a common mwananchi may not be able to see the problem or the punitive measure? Because the criticism against your opposition to the finance bill is that some members don't appear to be having a proper comprehension of the document.
What is happening?
The reason why someone could be asked to defend and opt to withdraw.
No, what is happening? What is happening is, you know, the issue of a finance bill is pretty technical. And it's not everyone who is technically versed with these things. Some people, you ask them what is the difference between zero rating and tax exempt, it will take quite a bit of time sometimes for some people to comprehend. But what these Kenya Kwanza politicians are doing is to play out with the semantics. And
there's a wording that's applied.
Yeah, they are using semantics. And I started by showing you the bigger picture, what the government plans to collect in the next 1 year. Government is not going to collect that from trees. It's not going to use any other document to collect. government is going to be using these government documents that they are placing in the National Assembly to collect money. Okay. And so once you have that at the back of your mind, then you must now start looking for where is this money going to come from. If you listen to the government politicians, what they are saying is, we are trying to streamline, we are trying to align, we are trying to make it easier for government to collect tax by putting things on tax exempt, making it look like it's a beautiful, good thing for the public.
Will these issues come up during the debate, during the third reading, where you say you'll propose amendments?
That is happening this morning. And I also want to remind you, you cannot,
time we need to come to
you cannot amend finance bill as a private member. That is legally and technically not possible.
But that was a suggestion by your colleagues yesterday, that they are going to introduce clauses.
It can't go through. Sorry, it can't go through. You can't amend government raising measures if you are a member of parliament. The only person who can amend government raising measures is the committee. So
but you may introduce proposals to amend, then it goes back.
They will not go through. Last time I introduced about 6 proposals. All of them were knocked down. And what I realized, they recorded. What I realized is that anyway, out of the 6 that I had raised, 3 of them had already been considered by the committee. So those ones that were already considered by the committee, when I raised them, they went through. The ones that were already considered by the committee. But the other 3 that committee did not consider, they were not even debated. They say it falls on the account of, there's a clause in the Constitution that will normally be quoted for that.
But who's to blame here? Allow me to pose it to Mwalimu. You've also been a legislator in the National Assembly. Who's to blame here? Even those opposed to the proposals right now, who's to blame for this lack of education?
The infrastructure that is contained in the National Assembly is able to inform every member of parliament on the nature of the bills they have, the gaps they have, because a member of parliament represents the people by the end of the day. You don't represent the executive. The executive is a completely independent arm of government. You oversight the executive. And we cannot feign that we are ignorant if you don't do your homework. Mheshimiwa here, you can see, has taken us through points and he has applied his mind, I want to believe, on the bill as it is. And you can see he's making an arguable case. And I think those are the arguments we'd like to see before the flow of the House. And if we transact business on the basis of facts, we'll go very far. But unfortunately, we've seen members of parliament, even in critical leadership, talking about clauses that are not contained in the bill. And that frightens the rest of us. It frightens the country. And even if the powers of amending a finance bill is vested in the Committee of Finance is made up of members from across. Yes, and they represent the people of Kenya. And away from the debates, you can make your proposal. There's nothing wrong. Even if it doesn't go through, let the Kenyan public see you prosecute the way you have done here, that this category has been pushed to tax exempt instead of being zero rated, and make your arguments. And those are the type of arguments we would like to see within this space,
the public
and within this process. Yeah, within this space and within this process. These are the facts that we would like to consume.
I can see only about 5 minutes left. So,
but very honestly, if some members of parliament or a certain corner would just like to create cases just for political expediency, it would be wrong. Let us deal with finance bill as a document of the people of the Republic of Kenya, not a document of government. And you see, we have a budget of 4.8 trillion. And any revenue collection measure that will enhance the revenue collection And that which is legitimate and approved by Parliament is what will carry the day, because the budget must be implemented. While at the same time, as you debate the finance bill, please take Kenyans through facts.
All right. And before I give you an opportunity to make your final comments, let's go to the streets of the city and find out what people are talking about, are feeling, their comments and opinions about this discussion and the kind of contention within the National Assembly. Our reporter on the ground is Muthoni Brenda. Muthoni, good morning once again. What kind of discussions are people having in the streets of Nairobi with regard to the finance bill and the contention between different members of the National Assembly?
Well, a very good morning to you, Fred Ndimuli, and the panel in studio. And the discussions here at Bunge la Mwananchi mirror the discussions in studio. We are following the story. Na tunaona you are covering the finance bill, the battle over the people's wallet. And the discussions here at Bunge la Mwananchi have majored on the opposition. Wanasema the opposition says the finance bill is punitive. But I want us to hear their opinions. Je, wao wanajihisi aje kuhusu hii finance bill? Je, inamkandamiza Mkenya wa kawaida ama they think it's gonna work for them? Habari yako, good morning. Karibia tu hapa na uangalie kamera. Habari, good morning.
Morning, my name is Regan. Ukiangalia hiyo finance bill tusaidii sisi wa Kenya.
Kwa nini?
Ukiangalia vitu zenye wanataka wa tax ni zenye zinashikilia mwananchi. Like kama mitumba. Ni wangapi hapo ukiangalia hapa Kenya, wangapi wanavaa suti, ni wangapi wanavaa mashati zenye zinatoka kwa duka. Tukiingia Gikombo ukiwa na dhao umechukua shati 10 na longi 10. Sio ukileta hiyo tax ukitax imemtumba, tutatoa wapi nguo? Tutavaa aje? The same tu kwa mambo na transaction na M-Pesa nini imefanya saa hii wa Kenya saa hii hata wenye wanafanya biashara hawatafanya biashara, mambo tulikuwa tunatumia pay bill na nini, kwa sababu saa hii hata ETR yenyewe KRA itakosa, kwa sababu the more unaenda huko wanataka cash, pia nao wanataka wapate profit, na wakienda hizo mambo na transaction deduction kwa transaction yao hakuna mwenye atapata hizo pesa. So waangalie, wasiangalie tu kikao wao wenyewe, wafaa kujanga huku chini. I think like 3 years ago tulikuwa na unaona hata media inaanza kuangalia chini huku, wakileta watu wana discuss mambo na nini finance, ndio wanakuta wakienda kwa budget wanaleta zile vitu zinasaidia mwananchi mostly. Lakini hii yenye wanatuendea wanakuja wanaendea huku Jivanji Koinange kuulizia mtu anauza simu 100,000. Sasa ile mimi niko na mkopo sasa unalipa 200 ndio ongee na mtu sasa ile amenunua simu ya 200,000. Sasa inasaidia mwananchi aje?
Alright, asante sana. Wacha tusikie another perspective. Huyu ni chairman wa Bunge la Mwananchi. Habari yako, good morning.
Salama sana.
What are your views on the finance bill ya huu mwaka? Ina work for Kenyans ama it is punitive just like the opposition says?
Okay, unajua kama kawaida finance bill ikikuja, sisi wananchi wa kawaida tunaangalia ni nini iko pale ambayo itatufaidi. Na tukiangalia finance bill na ukilinganisha hata iliyopita, kuna zile vitu ambazo zitaumiza mwananchi, kama zile taxes. Unajua kuna some taxes hawa wanaweka lakini hawatuambii. Lakini wakati tunapokuja kushutukia kuna tax kama ile wanasema 5% kwa mtumba, they are not coming very clear. They are saying like they have removed, but you see CS Mbadi is insisting kwamba wataona vile watarudisha. Sasa tukiona vitu kama hizo na wananchi wanajua wamekuwa ni kama ile ng'ombe ichakula na bado unataka kukamua kwao maziwa. So bunge iangalie hiyo taxes zenye tuko nazo kwa saa hizi. In fact what you want them to reduce. So if they reduce, mwananchi atakuwa na nguvu ya kufanya nini? Ya kupata pesa ya kufanyia kazi. Kidogo kile mambo tuliona kwa TV47, mambo ya Goonism, na wanasema inatoka kwa Bunge la Mwananchi. Sisi tunataka kukashifu na kusema kwamba kuna wale watu ambao nao sana sana ni politicians ambao they are making use of Bunge la Mwananchi.
All right, yes, quite some interesting comments there from members of the public in the streets of Nairobi with regard to some of the discussions we're having here. I want to give you an opportunity for your final comments, and we start with you, Bwana Kagushia. Definitely we can see some level of comprehension, understanding, a level of understanding that yes, indeed, there could be some hidden, something hidden through technical jargon.
You said it.
Yes.
You know, finance bill is very technical. Normally there's and I know Sosion knows this, there's a huge book somewhere, a reference book, which has so many clauses, which many times also refers to other laws, okay? So sometimes you can negate something that is on that booklet, and then you have an amendment that is amending an amendment. So sometimes someone may tell you, show me where this is. And you cannot sometimes expressly point on it on the clouds like this. And that is what government politicians are measuring on. Show me where it is, show me where, you know. But that doesn't mean that it is not there. If you listen to the argument in Parliament, we had very good arguments, by the way, very informed. Don't just look at where someone was pushed by the speaker to show us. And then for that moment at time, they could not immediately be able to point out. Don't major on that. They are very good arguments. Mbui, for example, had very, very, very solid arguments about the finance bill, and he was able to bring out even the issue of Mitumba, by the way. He was still able to bring it out. Are you getting? I have seen a strategy that government has been using. When they are bringing the finance bill, the first document that they place on the table has very many clauses. And when you pick them up and they start working on it, they remove them. Are you getting? Without notice. So by the time they are bringing the final document, you are left with the old document that they had. You are left talking about the first issues. And then they say, show us where it is. And of course, when you go now to the newer document, you find they have removed. Are you getting? So that they can try to punch holes on the people who are criticizing the finance bill. And from that time, they pick on that to say that every critic now you give on the finance bill is not factual. So Kenyans need to be aware of that. And I think they're actually aware. The only thing I want to ask Kenyans, and I want to tell Kenyans to consider, this government says that it wants to raise revenue from 2.6 trillion to 3.6 trillion in the next 1 year. And then they tell you that they are not raising any revenue using this finance bill. How gullible can we be as Kenyans? Where are they going to get that money from? Even if no one pointed out for you exactly where those revenue raising measures are indicated, won't you use your mind to comprehend that someone is lying to you and that someone is raiding your pocket?
All right. Thank you so much. Finally, Mwalimu, very briefly.
No, I think the fact of the matter is we have a budget of 4.8 trillion, and it is the duty of government to put in place measures to raise revenue. That's a fact for sure within the finance bill. And we all ought to know that we have run an economy that AU data and even UN has indicated that there is huge tax evasion and the burden is placed on the poor people of Kenya. Parliament should not be a theater of the absurd where you transact politics of competition to the disadvantage of Kenyans and use the finance bill to advance politics and to advance other interests. I think adjudicate the finance bill objectively on behalf of the people of Kenya. And then have a finance bill that is able to raise not just 3.6 trillion, but even if it hits the 4 trillion mark, then it means the better for the country. Because that means commensurate quality services to the people of Kenya. So let's have an optimistic country and a country that is moving progressively in the right direction. But then this type of politics, the dirty politics of undermining processes, a bill does not belong to an individual. A bill belongs to the Republic of Kenya.
Thank you so much,
It belongs
Mwalimu.
to the people of Kenya.
Exactly 1 week to the second anniversary of the events of the June 25th, 2024. A week exactly to that anniversary. There's a lot of contention with regard to the Finance Bill 2026. And that's what we've been discussing. This will continue in Parliament, in the National Assembly. People debating on whether or not there are actually provisions within this finance bill for some punitive taxation that many people cannot pick out because of the technical jargon used. And that is a claim that some members of the National Assembly have put forth. Thank you so much, Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, a teacher, trade unionist and politician, and John Kagusha, MP Mokoroine constituency, for helping us with this discussion and for the debate we've just had. We now want to move to a different discussion, cleft lip and palate deformities. After the break, Arno Dida will be having that conversation with Daktari Karenju Julius, and I'll be back later on to discuss matters mental health, especially it being the Men's Mental Health Month. My name is Fred Ndimuli. See you later.